my pleasure now to acquaint you with Dr. Johnny Pendleton. Before we convened in here, I was visiting in the hallway with some of his friends, and they said he is Johnny, he's not John. Some people call him John and trying to make a northerner out of him. So this is Dr. Johnny Pendleton, who received his bachelor's degree here in Champaign in 1948 in agronomy. He stuck around and got his master's and PhD degrees here in agronomy as well, those coming in 1951 and 1955. He currently resides down the road in Savoy, and it is from his accomplishments in teaching, research, and administration that have placed him among the world's leaders in agronomy and have brought significant recognition to the University of Illinois College of ACES. Dr. Pendleton remained on the faculty in agronomy after he graduated, and he developed a teaching and research program that was unparalleled anywhere in the country. During his tenure here, he and his grad students published over 50 scientific papers that made an important contribution to the advancement of science, and Dr. Pendleton ensured the information was readily available to the farmers of Illinois through extension programs and farm publications. Dr. Pendleton understood entirely the land grant mission of the college and worked hard to make certain that his research was accessible to the people of Illinois. I wish someone would pick up that torch and make sure that the next generation retains our devotion and our respect for our roots in the land grant mission. Following Dr. Pendleton's time here at Illinois, he moved up the road to Madison, Wisconsin, where he was chairman of the agronomy department at the University of Wisconsin. While he was there, he spent a year in Washington and moved into international work, serving as a scientist and an administrator at International Rice Institute, Research Institute in the Philippines, and the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture in Nigeria. Dr. Pendleton has received numerous awards for his commitment, including being named a Fellow of the Crop Science Society of America, the American Society of Agronomy, the AAS, Korean Agriculture Medallion, and the Research Award from the American Soybean Association. He was also elected as President of the American Society of Agronomy. In his retirement, Dr. Pendleton serves as a strong supporter of the department, teaching when the need arises, and providing encouragement and advice to faculty, students, and administrators. In support of his nomination, Ed Runge, and Ed Runge I think has been mentioned very often here tonight, but he wrote in support of Johnny's nomination. And to quote him, he says, "Johnny's the best production agronomist I or the world have ever known. He can get his point across to an audience, and everybody learns in the process. He works hard, and just look at the contributions his students have made and continue to make. He's a loyal Illini who retired in Champaign. He is most deserving of receiving the ACES Alumni Association Award of Merit." Dr. Pendleton, congratulations. We couldn't agree with him anymore.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank the Honors Committee for nominating me, and I didn't know your husband could stretch the truth this much. A friend asked me here last week, what did I do to get this award? And I said, I just outlived all the competition. I may be about the last World War II veteran you will honor. colonel informed us that the World War II veterans were dying at the rate of 2,000 per day. Well, that seems a little high to me, but you don't dare question a Marine colonel. Our children come 4 to 5 because they couldn't believe this was going to happen. And they had to see it with their own eyes. And that's why I'm here too. And I'd like to share this with my wife, who's not able to be here today. She's just as deserving of this award as I am. She gave up teaching high school home ec to come to Illinois and become a homemaker out here east of Urbana and raise 5 wonderful children. And thank goodness they got most of their genes from the maternal side. There's another story in the South that some of you have heard and some of you haven't heard. I kind of feel like I'm standing here in tall cotton. And when somebody does something extraordinary in the South, that's what they say, he's in tall cotton. Well, that tall cotton, you usually have high yield. Anyway, I feel honored and blessed that as a kid I started out in a small farm and 2-mule farm, red clay soil in Middle Tennessee. And that just shows the advantage of being born in America, the land of opportunity. You study hard and work hard, and it'll happen. And as it has to these honorees here today. I was going to introduce a few people, but I see we're supposed to be finished about 20 minutes ago. So I'm the guy responsible probably for moving into that other room, because about everybody I knew I invited here to say And anyway, before we go, I had a sentence or so, or a story to tell about each one of them. Well, like my first 2 secretaries, my first 2 graduate students, and it goes on and on. But anyway, we've got that room reserved in there, and if they'll all tarry a little while, I'll tell you what I was going to say about each one of them. A little philosophy. Some of the other honorees have touched on this. Agriculture, we were all very lucky in this room to work in agriculture or the improvement of agriculture. It's still the most important profession that humans have, the opportunity. Food comes first. And we've been very lucky that particularly in the 20th century, the leaders in America continued really sponsored agricultural research. And we went from 30, 40, 50 bushel corn up to 175 to 200 bushel corn through agricultural research. And so it's just, well, I better not get started on sustainable agriculture and organic farming and things like that. I wish all of you had been last Thursday morning. B.B. Singh from India gave a philosophical talk. He's the award winner for the International Agriculture this year, and he really gave calories, and I wish I could remember all the data he gave us on this. The population is still increasing. It's going to be nip and tuck whether we agriculturalists can feed the people in the future. We've got to hope that the leaders and the politicians of the next century will continue to support agriculture and agricultural research. If they don't, this world is facing chaos and much poverty and hunger. A little more philosophy about my graduate students all worked in the field. I think the final exam for these new production practices must take place in the field. I'm a little skeptical of these $1 million ideas still have to be tested out in the real world. The third thing is that I used to tell the grad students that before we recommended a field practice to farmers, it had to make sense. And that's spelled C-E-N-T-S and S-E-N-S-E. It had to meet those two criteria, else we just bury it. And I think they carried that philosophy on. About half of them went to industry and half of them went to academia. One is here representing industry, one is representing academia. One retirement party I particularly remember happened here in the early 1960s. Dr. O.T. Bonnet, retirement, Department of Agronomy. He was the plant breeder for small grains, wheat and oats. And Dr. Bonnet stood up that night and said, if he'd inherited $1 million, or if he'd been given $1 million when he graduated from high school, he would have done exactly the same thing with his life. Well, I'm sitting back here in the back of the room and thinking, you gotta be kidding. I could visualize myself out in the mid-Pacific, sitting under a palm tree, pina colada in one hand, Mai Tai in the other one, enjoying life. But you know, as you get older, you get a different perspective on life. And I think some of the other honorees here today and some of the gray hairs in the room would agree with me. If I had my life to live over again, I would do exactly the same thing. I would marry the same girl, and I would come to graduate school at the University of Illinois. I about stumbled and said Wisconsin. And I was hoping he'd ask me about if I had any children that, we've got 4 here. One of them couldn't come. He got tied up in Australia and didn't make it. But anyway, I always told the kids they could go to any university they wanted to, so long as they could walk. Well, professors didn't get paid much back then. But anyway, 2 of them went to Illinois, and 3 went to University of Wisconsin. Both great universities. And but anyway, it's been a great journey, and I've come back to Illinois again, and to show my appreciation, I'll thank the committee again and put my cap on they gave me last week.
Well, Johnny, you may have outlived the competition. Maybe that's the reason why you won. But I'll tell you one thing, you didn't outlive your enthusiasm, excitement, dedication, and vision. I get excited listening to you. One negative, 2 out of 5 children went to U of I. That doesn't seem like a very many. We do better than that. Well, let's give one round of applause for our 5 recipients.